Richard Owen had everything a man could dream of: wealth that built empires, cars that only few in the world owned, and a mansion so large that his footsteps echoed like he was the only soul left on earth, which, in truth, emotionally he was. His wife, Isabella, the heart of their home, had passed away 2 years earlier, leaving behind not only her widowed husband but also their 2 sons, Liam and Lucas, identical twins with identical mischief, chaos, and pain. They were only 5, too young to understand death, but old enough to feel the burning absence of the woman who tucked them in, baked cookies with them, and kissed their scraped knees. They lashed out at the world because they couldn't express what hurt inside them. No nanny lasted more than a week in the Owen mansion. Some left in tears, some quit without a word, some ran to the gate still being chased by flying toys and flower explosions. Richard watched nannies come and go like passing storms, and every failed attempt reminded him of how powerless he was even with all his money. At meetings he was a lion, feared and respected, but at home he was a man defeated by 2 children who only wanted their mother back. One stormy Monday morning, Richard returned home to shattered vases, forts made of expensive sofas, and paint smeared across the marble floor. The twins laughed like wild sparks as another frightened nanny ran out the front door with her hair full of peanut butter. Richard sank into his chair, head heavy in his hands, whispering, "I can't keep doing this." His secretary nervously stepped forward and said words that sounded like a miracle or madness. "Sir, there's one last applicant. She's waiting outside." Richard looked up with empty eyes. "Bring her in, though I doubt she'll last an hour." Then she entered, not fragile, not fearful, but confident, with neatly tied hair, a soft smile, and eyes that carried patience like sunlight does warmth. Her name was Clara. She didn't flinch when she heard glass shatter upstairs. She didn't panic when she saw the twins sprint past her shouting war cries. Instead, she knelt and opened her arms like someone greeting long-lost family. The boys froze, confused. They weren't used to adults kneeling to them. "Hi, Liam. Hi, Lucas," she said gently. "I heard you're the strongest, smartest boys in this whole house. I wonder, who taught you to be so amazing?" The question caught them off guard. No one ever praised them, only scolded, chased, or feared them. Liam blinked. Lucas frowned. Clara smiled like she already knew the answer. "Was it your mommy?" Silence filled the air like a held breath. Lucas whispered, voice trembling, "Mommy did, she made cookies." Clara nodded warmly. "Then maybe today, we can make cookies too, together." Richard's heart clenched at those words. Clara was not trying to replace Isabella, she was honoring her. The twins looked at each other, hesitant but curious, and for the first time in months, they held someone's hand willingly. Clara led them to the kitchen and soon flour filled the air like soft snow. The boys laughed, not wild, but joyful. Clara didn't yell when they spilled milk, she guided. She didn't demand obedience, she invited trust. Richard entered the kitchen later, stunned to see his sons dusted in flour, smiling, not destroying. He leaned on the doorway, eyes wide, heart pounding. Was this real? Clara turned, smiling calmly. "Mr. Owen, your sons don't need control, they need connection." And in that moment, Richard realized she was right. For the first time since Isabella died, hope breathed through the house. That night, Clara tucked the boys into bed and they asked her to stay a little longer, their small hands gripping hers like she was the rope pulling them out of darkness. As she hummed a lullaby, one Isabella used to sing, Richard stood outside, tears slipping down silently. He wasn't crying from sadness this time but from relief. The impossible had happened. His sons were calm. His sons were happy. His house felt like a home again. Days turned into weeks, and Clara became the heartbeat of the mansion. She taught the boys kindness, patience, and love, not with discipline, but with warmth. She told Richard stories of mothers who lived forever through memories, not through grief. Slowly, gently, the family healed. One afternoon, as Clara and the boys baked cookies again, Liam looked at her and whispered, "You help us remember Mommy, without hurting." Clara knelt, tears shining, and hugged them both tightly. Richard watched from the doorway once again, but this time his shock was gone. In its place was gratitude, awe, and something he thought he had buried forever, hope for a second chance at life. No one in the city could tame the millionaire's twin sons. No one, until Clara walked into their lives like sunlight after a storm. And just when Richard thought the impossible had already been achieved, he realized there was more. His heart, once shattered, had begun to beat again. If you felt this story touch your heart, if you believe love heals the broken, then join us, subscribe to the channel, because more stories are coming, stories that make you cry, smile, hope, and believe again. Let this just be the beginning.